Okay, good day, class, and then welcome to our lecture for today. Sorry about yesterday's class, which we couldn't hold due to one reason or the other. Today, we would like to continue from where we stopped last time. Okay, the last time we talked about passwords, viruses, IP address, and all that. Today we'll be talking about internet and web hosting. So we believe that you must have used internet for a long time. There is no student who is doing Zoom class who will not have used internet. So you know that internet is the in thing. So we're going to be looking at what is internet. You must have heard of it. What is World Wide Web, and what is a server. Some of these things were discussed last time. So internet is internet is a group of interconnected computers that are networked so that people can share information. They can retrieve information, share information, and all that. Can do research. So when computers are connected in a network, then you can say an internet is there. So let's look at a network in your office now. If you have different computers connected and sharing files and resources, since it is not linked to billions or to the world in general, it will not be called internet, but that is intranet, only for your organization. But because now you are opening it to the world, it is called internet. Internet supports applications such as email services. We have that of Microsoft Outlook, we have Gmail, we have Yahoo. It also supports communication tools like Skype, Zoom, and all that. Now, what is World Wide Web? World Wide Web is the application that uses internet. So the World Wide Web is what we call WWW. So that's a global collection of documents, images, and other resources that are stored in different computers all around the world. So when you say that I am sending this thing to the internet, it means that it is in your computer. When I say computer, I also mean phones. It is in your computer, but because your computer is linked to the world gateway where they can see everything, then that document which you want to put out in public has been posted to the internet. What is a server? A server is a physical computer that is dedicated to run one or more services that the computers who are connected to the internet will need. For example, there is a server that your server could help you to print. So there is what they call print server. Okay, so there's also what they call data server, storage server, where you want to store your files. We learned it last time that a central server could be used by a company. Now, there are other things you may need to know, like what is internet hosting. We talked about IP last time and service provider. So what is internet hosting? That is a broad term that is describing how with other computers. So when you want people to connect to you via the internet, you will now host. For example, now this Zoom class is an example of a supported tool for the internet. For me to connect with you, I have to host the lecture, or the admin how to host the class. So that is example of internet hosting. Now we have email host as a supporting service. So when you have your email address and you have an email account, that means there is a physical computer that performs the whole of the email hosting. So when you send an email from your account to somebody else's account, it doesn't just go there. It goes to the central system that holds it. Then it will either return it back to you if you give a wrong address, or if it's a spam mail, it blocks it, or if it is okay, it delivers. So that's why you see sometimes something is sent from your end. When you say you sent it, it's going to the email host. Then when it is delivered, it means the email server has delivered the message. Then when you see failure delivery, it means the email server was trying to locate this email address that you've given as destination but could not find it, and so is bringing back reports say, oh, the message you send me, I no fit go. We also have game host or game server, and we have file host or cloud storage. Okay, so cloud storage is used for storing things online. For example, we have Google Drive. It's an example of a file storage. So you can store up all your documents up to 15 gigabytes on Google storage or Google Drive. Okay, so instead of storing them on your system, it is good to store them on the cloud. So that in case your system got formatted, your system got stolen or anything, you don't need to lose that document. You only go to the cloud and retrieve it. You know, sometimes too, it happens in our phones that we store our pictures in the cloud, and sometimes some numbers are being stored in the cloud. When you are storing your phone contacts on your email, and your email is being stored in the cloud, it means you are storing your contacts in the cloud. If you get to lose your phone and you buy a new one, all you need to do is go to the cloud and bring it back. So you see file storage. Now we talk about internet protocol. Now, internet protocol is like a unique number that represents a website. So all websites are unique. So they have numbers that represent them. So the set of numbers is between 0 to 255. So you can see that no internet address is exactly the same. So you will see some similarities, but something must make it different. That is, so when you type www.gmail.com, if you go to the back end to go and see what you are actually typing, you know it is the IP address. Also, when you are trying to, okay, have you tried to share Xender with your computer? If you do, when you are trying to share Xender with your computer, they will tell you to type an IP address, maybe 192.138, things like that. And that is an IP address. So it is used to locate computer. So part of the IP address will give location, as in maybe country, it could give area, so that, you know, when you say people are tracking you online, when you are online, you can be tracked because of IP address. Then even your phone is also having an IP address. So your phone has certain things that enables them to track it. So IP address is one of it. Then let's talk about Internet Service Provider, which is the ISP. That is an organization that provides physical access to the internet. So it could be in the form of LAN, local area network, when you use copper or fiber optic wire, or you use a Wi-Fi or telephone signal. We talked about the Wi-Fi the other time. We talked about the WAP, wireless application protocol, which is used for mobile phones. So normally you pay a monthly fee to your home phone provider to connect you to the internet. These days it has been said that you can even pay even daily, can pay monthly as at will. The phone internet you are using right now, you are paying to a service provider. Could be MTN, could be Glo, it could be any network. Then there's what they call website hosting. Website hosting is when you are trying to make your page, your web page, available for the computers that are connected worldwide to view it. So when you are hosting your website, it means that you must have created a website account. You must have also put some content in them, and you must have had several pages. And so when you host it, it's like you are giving them your website address, and your website address is like giving someone address to your house. So normally when anybody visits your website, it's like maybe coming to your house or coming to your office. If somebody comes to your house, where will the person go? It will first land him in the living room, where you say, okay, sit down. Or if the person comes to your office, where did the person go first? It goes to the reception. So that's like the home page of your website. So when you are hosting your website, it means that you are making them available in the internet. Sometimes you see people saying site coming soon. So that means they have not hosted it. It is under construction. They are still trying to do things. And when they now finish, then it will be hosted and be running smoothly. Okay. Now look at web hosting services. So web hosting services, as noted above, in order to publish a website online, the author, that means the person who has the website, needs a web host that stores all the pages that makes a website. And so when it makes this web host available, then it is found in the internet. Like when someone types a domain name, we told you what a domain name is. We said that one, if you look at www.microsoft.com, www is the kind of server that is used to find the document. The Microsoft is the domain. So you see people saying, I want to buy domain name. It is Microsoft, or you could use anyone. It could be your name, it could be your company. Then that .com is the extension. So if you want to buy your domain name, you have to buy it under a particular extension, whether it is .com for commercial, .net for network, .org for non-profit organization, or .edu for educational things, .gov for government. And sometimes it is country based. Sometimes you see .gov.ng. All right. So this web host, this web browser, the web browser, like here, is the browsing field. So this is a web browser I'm using. So you can see the web address telling you the page where you can locate this email, this web page. Now, hosting fee that you use to host a website depends on a number of factors. For example, it depends on how much disk space your site will be using. Okay, for example, if you are buying a website or if you are buying a web hosting site, maybe you are trying to host your site, they will tell you how much size are you buying. The size you are buying will depend on how much you are going to pay. Let's say, for example, you are trying to buy from Bluehost. They will give you their website, the size, and some of them will tell you that, okay, is it 10 gig size you want? Is it 50 gig? Is it 100 gig? So all the things that you'll be sending and people will be sending will not exceed. If it gets to the maximum, the site will crash, unless you have to upgrade. So the fee you are going to pay depend on the size. And that's what they call bandwidth. What is bandwidth? Bandwidth is the rate of data transfer of a network. Let's say, for example, now you have a tap. You have a tap, and if water is just coming out from the tap, that's the first time water is coming out from the tap, the water will be going slowly. But when the water starts gushing out, you know, the thing will be rushing with speed. Okay. Now, if you have a smaller tap the mouth, the water that will be coming out from there will be small. Or if you're using a pipe, the smaller the pipe, the mouth of the pipe, the smaller the rate the water will come. But if you have a wide pipe to be coming so that's bandwidth. So the bigger the transfer rate, so MBS, microbyte per second. So it depends on how many bytes or microbytes can you transfer in a second. So when you say something is fast, it's because of the bandwidth. If the bandwidth is high, the speed will be okay. So you see why some people want to use 4G as against 3G, because of bandwidth. Okay, key considerations when selecting a web host. The following table describes consideration that must be factored in when selecting a web host. We have the uptime percentage. The downtime describes the period when the website is unavailable due to the problem on the web server. So sometimes you send something, they will say, oops, not available. Sometimes you send something, they will say error. Sometimes it will not go. That is a downtime. Uptime is when you send something and you are getting the results. You send something, you are getting the results. So uptime is often measured in nines. Measured in nines. 5 nines means the website is available. That is 99.999. It means it's available. The website is available 99.99 times of the time, which equates to being down for just over 5 minutes per year. 3 nines equates to being down for nearly 9 hours per year. 3 nines means you are just being, it's going to be down for just nearly 9 hours in a whole year. While 5 9, you will be down for 5 minutes per year. So all these are just the IT jargons. Talk about space storage space. Talked about it. Many straightforward basic sites consume less than a couple of 100 MB of disk space. This would even accommodate product catalogs and a handful of downloadable documents such as user or technical manuals. But if you're using things like audio, video, or you need more disk space. So you need to buy big, um, um, you need to buy big storage space. So if you're just going to be putting pictures, documents, okay, the basic can do. But when you're looking at videos, audios, that's why YouTube and others are having a big storage space. Now, e-commerce describes the product, the suite of tools required to take orders and payment for selling products online. Some of the things you will see in e-commerce is like you see a payment gateway where you will now pay. You will see some things you will see order shop now. Like in Jumia, you will see a basket that will come up for you to shop. When you shop, and it will take you to pay now, you pay for them, it will take you to a gateway where you now put your account and card details. Okay, that's for e-commerce. Now, number of domains. Many companies might start up with a single domain name that identifies their website. Yes. Now you start with just one domain name that is generally identifying you. But however, they may want to have multiple names that is pointing to the same website, so that if people are searching and they misspell it, once they put it, it will still take them, it will just auto correct, because that website that you misspell from search will still bring up your domain name, so that once they search it, it will just take you to that place. For example, the number of domain names associated with Google search engine, for example, is google.com, which is the US version. We now have google.com.pk. If you see google.com.ng, what do you think it is? The Nigerian version. So all these are several other domain names that are associated with Google. So this is the domain, the main domain. This is the extension. Now, this is the country-specific version. What about technical support? We need to have technical support. Some people, some companies that are web hosts, that are into the business of hosting websites, they render technical support, so that when you have uptime and downtime, they can help you out and sort out the issue. All right. So sometimes you see chat support. You see them chatting with you. Sometimes you will see chat with a robot or a chat box. So like yesterday I was trying to do certain things on Telegram or online. So as you can see Telegram here. I had to go to the chat box to get support, and eventually I had to go on the desktop to do what I want to do. We've talked about the bandwidth, talk about now the number of emails, FTP accounts, and database. So you need to see how many emails that it can support and the size of an email. Sometimes when you see that you are getting error messages from when someone sends you an email and you are not getting it and it is bouncing back to the person, it's maybe that the size allocated to the email has been filled up. And so you see some messages in email get automatically deleted after maybe 30 days or so, depends on the size of the email. Now, they say type of web hosting. We have the free web hosting. The free web hosting is exactly zero cost to the user. So you pay nothing. The web host covers their costs and profits through selling advertisement that is done automatically to the page through pop-ups, frames, and scripts. For example, Gmail is a free email. Um, Google is a free uh, hosting. Or you go to YouTube, they are free. So you don't pay any money when you are creating an account. But you have to bear with them that they'll be sending you adverts, be sending you pop-ups, and you will just have to click them. When each click you make is as good as giving them profit. Then we have the standard web hosting. That's a term covering the most common form of paid web hosting. So you have to pay. A standard fee will be required for a specific amount of server space on the website, which will provide you high speed and quality service. So, when you want to get a professional website, all you need to do is to get a standard website instead of getting a free one, because the free one might not be customized for your exactly what you want to do. So you need to check bandwidth. So bandwidth charges, there might be a ceiling where you can, that is the basic, that after you exceed that, they may be charging you extra. Then there's administrative access, okay? Then there is operating systems. So operating system varies between systems. We have system like Windows, Linux. We have Apple operating system. We have Android. So all of these varies. Then we have dedicated web hosting, which describes when the client paid for their own dedicated server machine on its website for its website exclusive use. So you see some companies will have a dedicated server. They're not going through things like webmail and all that, because webmail could be the one you pay for standard. And some people are also using Microsoft and Google to also create their own websites and their own email and their website. So, but everything you are doing is going to the Google or the webmail server. But now you have your own dedicated server. So sometimes some people want some privacy. So they decide that you must have your own dedicated server so that anything you are sending emails doesn't go to the public server domain, so that it doesn't get hijacked and all that. So the site owner will be granted something called root access, which allows them to access the server and make changes and site control. One key benefit of paying for the dedicated server is that it has increased security. So people is not prone to hacking or hijacking. So sometimes some internet services you see, sometimes they may be running on their own dedicated server, some may not. So sometimes those that are running on a dedicated server are well protected. Okay, we have colocation. I said with free, standard, and dedicated web hosting, it is the web host themselves who owns the server hardware, which is a physical computer. Now, colocation is similar to dedicated hosting in that a website resides on a dedicated server. However, with colocation, it's the website owner who owns the website, who owns the server, and not the web host. Okay, so that's the difference between when you're just hosting to the web and you are having a dedicated server with colocation. E-commerce, we've been talking about e-commerce. E-commerce is required when a business sells goods on the web. And now e-commerce web hosting describes something called secure socket layer. So the secure socket layer is what will enable you to shop online, and you are protected. You are protected. So sometimes when you want to shop online, you see that if you look at the web browser, it will change from HTTP to HTTPS, showing you it is secure and that you can trust to put your card details, because they have this secure socket layer certificates, which shows that they have complied and they are ready to safeguard your privacy. Reseller web hosting is when a company wants to become a web hosting business themselves. A reseller purchases web hosting facilities of another web host and then sell them to other clients that, yeah, and acting as their web host. So it's just like saying MTN is a web host business, and another small group wants, they have their own clients that want to subscribe through them, and so they will buy off in wholesale from MTN and now start retailing it. So that's what it means. So these are some of the considerations. Okay, look at weblog. Weblog hosting is when a company hosts weblogs and blogs rather than websites specifically. So you know there's websites and there are blogs. Web blog functionality is typically more limited than the web hosting. So some customers are, however, limited to building a website with the blog software, which for most organizations would be too commercial limiting. You know, some people will go to WordPress and create a blog. Okay, when you create a blog, you have some limited access to it. You cannot do certain things that you do if you have a website. Okay, so there is a difference between website and a web blog. Now let's look at email. How does an email work? Email is also called electronic mail. In case you may have forgotten, it is when we send mails electronically as opposed to manually. So you sometimes hear people say email has replaced post office. Okay. When you are sending message through your company network, it is called intranet. So you may be sending through your company network, it is intranet. Sometimes too, even if your company is having a dedicated website and a dedicated server. Now, when you are sending from your dedicated server one email to another email similar, it is still an intranet because the same domain name is what is being used. Okay, email systems are therefore essentially electronic version of the traditional postal system, okay? And they operate as follows. So instead of using pen and paper to write a letter, you use electronic devices such as computer, your smartphones to compose this email. Now, the addressee, which is the person who is getting his email address, and not postal address. So there's nothing like PO box, or you now put the house address. So what we know is the email address. Email are sent by clicking the sent button, not by going to the post office and post and buying stamp. No, now you just click the sent button, and send button, it will go. Okay, so the recipient's device. Okay, now when you send the email, like as I said before, when you go to send a letter to somebody, if you're in Lagos, you want to send somebody to Abuja, you go to the post office and put the letter. It will be held there for a time, and the post office will deliver the letter. So when you send an email, it goes to the email server where it is awaiting delivery. The recipient's device or computer can fetch this new email from their mail server, just like when they go out and they say, okay, do I have any mail? They check their mailbox. Okay. Then alternatively, the recipient is able to access their email directly on the email server by using the web browser. That is like Chrome, Explorer, and all that. So you don't need to have the same kind of email, or the same kind of email host that your sender is using. Okay, synchronizing email. Okay, how do we synchronize email? What is synchronizing? Synchronizing means that you want something to be in multiple places and they have the same function. Let's take, for example, you have two mobile phones and you have a computer. Now you take one out and you got some contacts which you saved. When you save these contacts, you also have some notes which you also saved, and you say, all right, I want to synchronize. All you need to do is to click the synchronize button, and what it does is that it brings it to the central place where all the devices that are using that email for connectivity will now be having their their will not be communicated and get the same information. So it's as if you are sending a copy of all that thing you are synchronizing to every devices using that email. So that is synchronizing of email. So when you come back home and you say, this my phone is awful, and you just off your phone. I want to call this person and the person's number is in the other phone. But because you've synchronized, all you need to do is take the second phone and you refresh. Everything you synchronize will come into this phone, and you see the number and you call. So for you to do all of that, you must work with the up-to-date version of the mail server so that you can synchronize well. All right, sending emails. How do you send an email? We've been talking about it. Sending a new email, you have to click the new button. These days now, you will see compose. So when you see the compose, you enter your blank email. Then I'll prefer you finish writing your message. So instead of, give me a moment, please. So I usually okay, sorry for the break in transmission. So now I would like you to write your message first so that you will be as clear as everything that you want to express. Do not go and enter email address first. Reason being that one, that should be the third thing you should do. Reason being that as you are typing, you may mistakenly press the send button, which if you don't undo, you would have sent an incomplete message. Also, when you finish writing your message, try to look for a good subject for what you've just written. Sometimes from the message, you can get the subject matter. If you have to start thinking about subject matter before you write, you may waste considerable time. So waste the time writing your message, enter your subject matter. Then you cannot send this thing without putting an email address. So when you put the email as the third thing, then that time you must have reviewed everything. And when putting your email, make sure you are putting them well. Check for spelling errors. If your email address is not exactly the same email, you may have issues. Then you click your send button and it goes. When emails are delivered into your box, they will appear as unread emails. Then you open the email and you will see some other options like close. So when you close it, it will save it as read for future reference. You can decide to reply to the person who sent you the email. So you will see that the message will not be when you are replying, you will now see something like meaning that there is a reply. So when you see and you see a colon, then you see the title of the subject. It means it tells the person who sent you that you are replying. Now, it may be that they have copied more than one, they might copy somebody in the email. And so you may not be replying to one person, you may want to reply to everybody so that they see your reply. So that's what they call reply to all. So you see the option, when there are more than one people in the mail, you see the option reply to sender, reply to all. Then you may wish to forward. So when you see a forward, when you are forwarding something, you see the prefix FWD. So yeah, it means you're forwarding. But there are certain things that you may not like to forward. So all you need to do is edit it and remove the forward, remove all other messages that came with it, and you forward. But the funny thing is that there will be a trail when you forward. There will be a trail showing the person whether you are too smart to remove every other thing, that this thing was So Sorry for this, the embarrassment and network. So sorry. Okay. Let me share my notes again. Okay, so we are talking about the use of folders. So if you get to your email, you will see some folders. Every email has some folders. It's inbox, sent, junk, deleted, and you can personalize your folders. Like what I do, I have certain matters that I will just create a folder and decide to forward or move any message, any important message from my inbox. I will categorize them. Where will I send these things to? So this is important when you want to search for email. So if it has to do with personal or client, you just go to that folder and search instead of searching for inbox or sent. Even if it is sent, if it is inbox or so, if you move them to those folders, you'll be able to, have a neat way of arranging your files. Now, benefits and limitations of email. One of the benefits of email is an audit trail. When we say audit trail, it doesn't mean that an auditor will come and check. It means that there is somehow you can track the trail of messages and how long the period. For example, if you and somebody is sending email back and forth, you send, he replies, send, he reply, you can see the trail of discussion. So that is the audit trail we can, you can, that's what we are saying. So in the case of dispute, you can go back and bring those emails. It's just like going to your chat box or your chats, your WhatsApp, and as you are chatting, you are having trails. So that's still the same trail. Now, the sending and receiving mail is virtually instantaneous anywhere in the world. This is because the server is built to deliver almost immediately. All right? Recipients can access email anywhere and anytime and at their convenience. So it doesn't mean that you will now be restricted to 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock to go and post your email, or if you are sending a package. These days now, some people also send documents through DHL and all that. They have their own restriction. They have their own challenges. People can now send documents on email, and they can even sign. So you see, you can send and receive things at your convenience. Traditional and expensive mail shots to multiple recipients may be replaced by significantly quicker and cheap multi-recipient email communications. Now, look at what they mean here. You can send one email to several people at the same time, and you are not spending anything. Unlike when you want to send a hard copy mail and you're copying somebody, you must put them, maybe you're copying 5 people, so you must put 5 different mails and the original person 6. So when you're going, the post office will still charge you and all that. So this is also easy to use and organize daily correspondence. Yes, like as I said, you can put them in folders. Low cost, good for environment, doesn't use paper unless you want to print it out. If you're trying to run a paperless office, okay, the student has gone off. Let me hold on. Okay, the student log out. So should we end the class or is he logging in back? Okay, thank you for connecting. All right, we are talking about advantages of the email, and we are talking about we are at low costs and good for the environment if you are trying to use a paperless office, so you don't need to print emails. All you may need to do is, if there are documents that are being attached, you create a folder in your desktop or your any folder and put all of these, so you don't need to print them. Okay, now what are the limitations of email? It could be an inefficient way of reaching a decision, where a phone call or meeting might facilitate the immediate exchange of views, or you reach a consensus. This is because when you send an email, the person may not see it at that moment, and you want a decision to be made. So if you don't call the person or go to the office of the person to have a discussion, you may not get an instant response. It can be seen as an insensitive way of sharing bad news, and there is no personal human touch when it comes to sending email. You know, some people who are very, very blunt in real life can just share an email or a bad news in an impersonal way through the email, and that is it. Now, poorly constructed messages might be interpreted by the recipient. Yes, sometimes I do that. When you send me a message that I could not fathom, sometimes it has a way of how I think about the recipient. It might be like the person may have limited education. I could also guess from the way they misinterpret their sentences or construct their sentences. They